Hello, my fellow entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs. Welcome to Think, Engage, Thrive, our show on entrepreneurship, where we showcase some of the most inspiring and innovative startups every week. If you have ever thought about starting your own business, you should watch and listen. We're going to tell you the good, the bad, and the funny stories about startups. But today, we're going to focus on marketing. So I'm not going to have a guest. Specifically, we're going to focus on online marketing, not just for startups, but for any business. And we're not going to have a guest because, well, it's July 4th, actually, and couldn't find a guest to come on for July 4th. No, not really. It really something stuck in my craw, which I'm going to get to in a little while. And you're going to see why I wanted to do something on marketing for entrepreneurs and for young startups and for anybody out there who's got a business. So for those of you who don't know me, or just started following the show, I'm Phil Masiello. I've been marketing online for well over 20 years. I founded and built brands online. I've built them on Amazon, on TV shopping channels. I mentor entrepreneurs at the University of Maryland School of Entrepreneurship. I mentor at several incubators and accelerators in my area. So I believe in giving back to the entrepreneurship community because I've taken so much from it. I've had some great entrepreneurs, great mentors throughout the years, and I just believe in giving back. So if you're building stores now, you're thinking about it, this is a good episode to watch because we're going to talk all about marketing. I also have an agency called Crunch Growth, and we work with brands from startups to the Fortune 100. We focus primarily on e-commerce consumer brands, but what we're speaking about today, as far as marketing, it has applications across the board, marketing anything. So whether you're building a store, physical stores, whether you're building retail brands, whether you're building online brands, whether you just want to focus on Amazon, trust me, you'll get a lot out of this, what we're going to talk about today. And because, frankly, everything starts online today. Even if you're watching television, half the time, some of those ads are showing up on their online ads. Amazon's got connected TV. So when you're running video ads on Amazon, they're going to show up on Amazon Fire TV network. So we focus online because that's where the bulk of people are advertising today, or bulk of companies are advertising today. So a couple of items I want to get off the table right away. And this is really what stuck in my craw and was why I wanted to do this video. I get, and I'm sure you do, I get bombarded with ads from all these people that it just never ending to me. It just doesn't make any sense to me how many of these guys are out there talking about how they're going to 10x your ROI, they're going to 10x your growth. You sign up with them, your calendar is going to be full with customers calling. You're going to have so many meetings every day to sell your service or sell your app or sell whatever you're selling, that you're not going to be able to keep up with it. They're going to be your savior. And they're guaranteeing it. I'll guarantee you a 10x return. I'll guarantee you 10x ROI. And I'll guarantee first page Google results. Let me be clear. I've been doing this since 1998. I can tell you that no one can make a guarantee like that. Nobody can guarantee anything. And when I explain to you why, it'll make total sense to you. But when you start doing some research, so for example, Ahrefs, which is they supply SEO tools, great company. They've been around since 2011. They've got on their site a quote that says, "Unfortunately, nobody can guarantee first page Google rankings, but you can improve your chances of getting there by following a logical process." So if anybody ever tells you they can guarantee you first page Google rankings, run, because more than likely what they're going to try and do is some black hat technique that will maybe last a little while till you pay them. Then Google will get wise to it, find out, and then you get shut down and your site now has a blemish on it and you're going to have to work to try and get it back. So there's no silver bullet to marketing. Believe me, if there was, myself and probably hundreds of others that have been out here marketing since the early 2000s or late 90s would know it already, and we'd have figured it out. But there is no silver bullet. It's hard work. It's hard work, and you have to think. You have to have the right tools. You have to understand your KPIs, all those pieces. And again, I've been marketing online since 1998. So, and the other reason is we have made way too many people that come to us because, like I said, I mentor entrepreneurs, I mentor business people, and they come to us and they come for help because they've taken one of these classes. I've written a couple of books, written books on digital marketing. I've written books on Amazon selling. I write for Practically Commerce. So I do a lot of things. So people know me and they'll send me an email. And after they've spent thousands, if not sometimes tens of thousands of dollars on some of these training tools or training classes, and they get nowhere. And so it bothers me because just like you guys, I get bombarded with those ads and it just sticks in my craw. So I'm trying to help before you get scammed or before you waste any money falling for some of these tricks. But here's why nobody can guarantee anything. And you're all smart. So think about it. Okay. Because what happens, I think, is people get so enamored with growing their business that they want to think that there's some sort of a silver bullet, but there isn't. So I want you to think about this. Okay. How can they guarantee anything when they haven't spoken to you? They don't know the product you're selling. They don't know the advertising you have in mind. They don't know what your brand position is. They don't know anything about you, but yet they're going to guarantee a 10x return. I would never guarantee returns to anybody because we don't know. We test, we try, we test, we try, we gather facts. That's it. Each brand is different. Each company is different. Ads are different. The way customers react to ads is different. Products are different. So nobody can guarantee anything. But the key to marketing, the basic fundamental foundation is, do you have a proposition with your company, your brand that is going to set you apart? That's really the question you have to ask yourself before you spend $1 on marketing, before you spend $1 on advertising or anything, is do you have a proposition that will break through the clutter and get to your desired audience, right? Because even resellers, doesn't matter whether you're building a brand or whether you're a reseller, even resellers have a value proposition, right? Chewy, for example, right? All they do is sell pet products, but they have a great value proposition. Those pet products, you can find them in PetSmart, you can find them in any pet store, but at the same time, they've built a brand around Chewy. Chewy themselves is a brand selling these other products, right? And they built up loyal customer base based upon trust, based upon transparency, based upon ease of use of their site, rapid shipping. All those things have created loyal customers. So they built a brand, even though they're resellers of other people's products, right? So before I get into the meat of the discussion today, I want to give you a couple of stats for you to walk away with. And I want you to think about this because it affects marketing, it affects advertising, it affects social media. Okay. LinkedIn removes approximately 40 million fake accounts each year. And these stats come directly from LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Okay. LinkedIn removes approximately 40 million fake accounts each year. Facebook eliminates over 1 billion fake accounts per quarter. Instagram admits approximately 1 out of every 10 accounts are fake. And TikTok revealed that they've removed 33.6 million fake accounts in a 3-month period. They publicly stated that they have a bot problem. Okay, so what does that mean? That means that when you're spending your money on ads, all these guys that are promising you big returns, social media ads, I'm going to turn your business around, ROI, yada yada, 10 to 20% of your ads are going to bots or fake accounts. So you have to keep that in mind. So that's why sometimes ads, you have to think about what you're doing, where you're sending them, how you're sending them, who you're sending them to. And sometimes it's not just about ads. Sometimes you have to think about your whole ecosystem. So e-commerce marketing, brand building, it's hard work. There's no silver bullet, no guarantees. Keep that in mind. So when somebody's telling you that they can guarantee something, if something's too good to be true, you know that story, right? If it's too good to be true, it's probably not true. So in order to develop a marketing plan, you have to think and answer about this simple question. Okay. Are you building a brand or are you just selling a product? Two entirely different methodologies, two entirely different mindsets. When I speak about products, it could be software, it could be an app, it could be consulting, it could be services, doesn't matter. A product is a product, your product. But so but you can still build a brand around it. I just explained to you about Chewy. So are you just trying to get transactions or are you building a brand? Because it's important to understand the difference because they have they have vastly different impacts on your business, right? Building a brand creates loyal customers. It sets you apart from competitors and it builds long-term value. Okay. Selling products, it just means you're looking for as many transactions as possible. It makes you more vulnerable to competition, makes you vulnerable to price. It doesn't set you apart from any other business. We'll speak about both today, but we try and get people, no matter what business you're in, to try and focus on brand building. It's more impactful, it's better in the long term, and it builds loyalty. So when it comes through breaking through the clutter, with your brand, getting your business noticed. And again, it's a noisy landscape out there. Digital marketing is essential for success. You have to go digital. You have to be online. You have to be doing things. And when you look at your channels that you're working with direct to your website, organic, you're working with search, you're working with email, you're working with social media, digital ads, Amazon marketplace listings, referral, influencers, affiliate programs. All of these are effective in their own way, but they don't work on their own. None of them are in a vacuum. None of them are just the singular channel that's going to grow your business. Okay. And in addition, leveraging these tools is a key part of brand building, and it's a key part of leveraging other channels. But I'm going to talk to you also about public relations, PR, media. Right? This is not something that you hear about all the time, but getting your brand featured in news articles, other influential publications, these are tools that help jumpstart, right? You think back, just think back, think back on a few years ago and think back on how you heard about, say, a new company. It could be Uber, right? The first time you heard about it, it probably wasn't an ad that came up, right? It was probably a story that you saw in a news article, right? You think about WeWork. It was probably a news article that you saw. You think about I don't know, any brand or product that you've probably heard about in the last 20 years, you probably heard about it from a different source or maybe from a friend, right? That's generally how excuse me, I'm sorry, allergies. But that's generally how it goes. You think back about, you look at a brand, Dollar Shave Club, that launched got to be 12 or 13 years ago now, but they created a video and that video went very viral. But it wasn't just viral on social media, it was viral on every news channel was showing it. It was in newspapers, it was everywhere. People were all over that brand, right? And they did a great job, and that video had something to say, and that video went wild. They invested, I think, $20,000 in that video plus some other pieces, right? So when you think about Airbnb, another one, they got a ton of press when they first started. They weren't focused on running ads as much as they are today. They weren't focused on doing a lot of things. So they were a startup. They didn't have the money, but they got a lot of press, right? Uber, WeWork, Starbucks, even still to this day. If a couple of weeks ago, Starbucks, because they always want to be top of mind, right? They always want to be in the news. So a couple of months ago, they announced that they were going to be they had a drink that was going to be adding olive oil to coffee. Now, we all know that's not going to make the best coffee. Intuitively, we all know that that's not going to make the best coffee, right? So then what was the reason for them to do it? Well, the reason for them to do it is they're running out of things to talk about. How many times can you talk about we changed the cup or we did this or whatever? they did that so that people got talking and start thinking about Starbucks again. They just did something else last week. They were in the news again. I can't remember what it was, but it was another silly thing. And again, they're just trying to make sure people keep them top of mind. So, and when I say, when I talk about the press, and I talk about um, getting in publications, okay, I'm talking about things like this, right? Where this is your product, 55 best things to buy on Amazon for in and outside the home. Okay. This doesn't happen by accident. The writer of this article did not sit down and evaluate all these products. You had a PR firm, and that PR firm are the ones who got this article placed. That's sort of how that happens. So you think about here's another good one. Um, this was in Business Insider, I believe, or BuzzFeed. This is BuzzFeed, and so this is um, you know 55 Amazon. Oh no, this is 59 products to try in 2023 that seem too good to be true. So this is a placed article. These people, again, this author didn't sit down and evaluate all these things. It was placed by a PR firm. Another great one that's a good example here is I've got another one here. Hang on. This one which is Maylove. This vitamin serum was developed by MIT students and makes my skin glow. It's back in stock after selling out multiple times. If you talk about a headline that's going to get people to jump, it must be good because it keeps selling out. So these articles they're not happening by accident. They are placed. You can pay for an article in Business Insider. You just, I don't know how much it costs at this point, but I used to know. But you can get things like that done. You have to be creative. You have to think about it, right? They're not free. They do cost money, but the returns are better, right? They're some of the best I've ever seen. I've done it. I've used these types of tools in the past, trying to get exposure. I'll tell you a couple of quick stories. Well, I'll tell you one quick story. Back in when I built 800razors.com, which was a startup back, it's 2011, I think we started, or 2010. And we struggled like everybody. We ran ads, and the cost of acquisition versus what we got in return was very, very difficult. I think we were paying $60 to $70 for an acquisition cost, selling a $25 product. You do that and you'll go out of business pretty darn quick. I understand long-term value. I understand some of you are going to say, well, you're investing in long-term value. Yes, I got it. But when you're a startup and every dollar counts, you're trying to look to keep things even so you don't run out of money. So what we tried to be creative, and I'm a baseball fan. I love sports. I don't know if any of you remember a guy. It was a pitcher named Brian Wilson, pitched for the San Francisco Giants, and he got Tommy John surgery, got injured, and he got traded to the Dodgers. It was the first time he was going to pitch in over a year, and they made a big deal out of it over the newspaper. I was reading the story in the morning, and again, this is 2011, 2012, somewhere around there. And I was reading the story in the morning, and I thought to myself, because the guy, if you remember Brian Wilson, if you look him up, you can still Google it. Google Phil Masiello, Brian Wilson, 800 razors. You'll see the whole thing. It was hysterical. But he had this epic beard, just beautiful beard down to here. It's gorgeous, and he was proud of it, and it was a signature. And we sent a note to his people saying, we'll pay him $1 million to shave his beard with our razor. That's how good our razor is. So we knew that he was never going to give up that beard, but all we needed was for them to come back to us and say, we're in discussions with Brian. We'll run it by him and we'll see what he says. That's all we needed. And we got it. And as soon as we got it, we let our PR firm know that we were in discussions with Brian Wilson to shave his beard for $1 million. And it went absolutely crazy. It was all over the world. It was in Japan. It was in France. All these newspapers were calling us up, asking us how we could be so ridiculous to offer a guy that's already wealthy $1 million to shave his beard. But that wasn't the point. The point was getting you to call me, and we didn't tell him that. But so, and then on top of it, back then, social media was it turned into a frenzy. I think the only thing we really had was Facebook, Twitter, and a little bit of YouTube. People were sending us messages. I'll shave this body part for 10,000. I'll shave this body part for 5,000. So social media went crazy. This lasted about 2 weeks. We got a ton of orders out of it. Our site traffic went through the roof, and we were on every newspaper all over the place. We were on television. We were interviewed on radio, everywhere. And it started to die off, as these things do after about 2 weeks. But then TMZ caught Brian Wilson coming out of a gym in LA. And they said, "Hey, Brian, are you going to shave your beard for $1 million? You're going to take the offer?" And he said, "I'm not shaving for any amount of money." And it blew up again, because then everybody was outraged that he would turn down $1 million just to shave his beard. So it was funny, and it didn't really cost us anything but time. I mean, we had to pay our PR agency to get the message out, but we were paying them anyway. It was that kind of guerrilla marketing attitude that sort of put us on the map and got us jump started. So you have to think about these things to break through the clutter and get your message out there before you start spending millions and thousands and tens of thousands of dollars on ads and all these "I'll solve your problem quick" deals, because they don't always solve the problem quick. Excuse me. Building a successful e-commerce brand, it takes a lot of hard work. And it takes a smart use of digital marketing channels to help you cut through that noise and that clutter. And you want to build loyalty. You're trying to invest in strategies that are going to give you content marketing, influencer partnerships, email, SEO optimization, all those things to attract more customers and grow your business. So these are sort of the things that that again we look for in what we're trying to do, right? We're trying to break through the clutter. We're trying to figure out a way to get people to understand who we are, who our brand is, without spending a ton of money. And so this is your e-commerce flywheel. Okay. This is the sort of the channels you're working with. Right? You've got the direct channel, the organic search, travel. I'm sure you guys are way familiar with these, but your referral channel, your mail, your social media, your Amazon channel, your other marketplaces, advertising. So these are the things you're going to use, the levers, so to speak, that you're going to tweak. Now, understanding how that flywheel works. Now, this changed a little, right? This was Google. You can track this on your Google Analytics, but now with GA4, we've got a bit of a bigger group of channels to work with. Thank God. I mean, I think GA4 is amazing, and you can track things much closer. You can track radio. If you're doing radio, you can track television. You can track all kinds of things. So it's great. But the fundamental channels are still these. So we're just going to talk about these and how to use them, because what you're trying to do is use these to attract new customers, attract customers to your site, engage those customers, delight those customers, and then retain those customers, because retention is everything in this business, right? When you're building a brand, retention is everything. You don't just want a customer once, you want a customer multiple times. That's why sometimes in some businesses, you look at long-term value. It's okay to spend $40 or $50 to get a $30 sale if that customer is coming back multiple times in a year to buy your product. If you have a product that has rapid use, then you can think about that. But if you have a product that customers are going to buy one time every 3 or 4 years, then you have to be very careful about what your customer acquisition cost is, how much money you're spending to get that customer. So let's start talking about attracting customers and relative to some of these channels. So you're looking at the direct channel. That's when customers type in www.crunchgrowth.com and they come to your site. Now, the direct channel and even the organic search channel are deceiving, because today, in today's environment, people are a little bit concerned about clicking on links. That's why sometimes when you do things, you have to watch all these channels as they work together. When you do something, let's say you send out an email to customers who have already purchased, and you say, I'll give you an incentive to pass this on to your friends and family. If people get the email, they may not want to click on the link. They're afraid of it. So what they do is they look at it and they go, okay, well, there's a sale on this product. I'm going to go type in www.philsite.com, and I'm going to look for that product and take advantage of it. So they just went direct, or sometimes they'll go back to Google and search. So you have to look at how those things work together. And it's true, people are afraid to click links, and it's making it much more difficult today with all the scammers that are out there sending scam links and phishing, and even SMS, because all these scammers are starting to kill SMS texting, because of all the fraudulent items that are out there in the news coverage about it, and telling people don't click on links on your phone. So it gets very difficult. So your direct channel, you're going to see that pop whenever you do anything. You get a news article, you get into your local news, and again, just because you can't get into a big publication across the board, start with your local news first. They love local stories of startups, and you can get on your local television shows. So start with your local market and try and do it. But when you get a good story, or you get any kind of anything, you'll start to see your direct channel pop up, and that's people coming directly to your brand. So you want to make sure that your site is easily navigable, and make sure that your site is easy to load. It's not slow. All those things affect it, because people will drop off. Organic search, SEO, we're all always working on SEO. It's a constant. It never ends. And people that sit there and tell you that they can get you on your first page, it's not true. They're never going to be able to do it. So you just have to keep working at it, whether it's putting up content, or whether it's optimizing your site for SEO, keywords, search terms, things like that. And you learn from it. You learn every day those things, because again, when people hear about you from somewhere, an article or whatever, they're going to search, right? So then the referral channel is anything that's coming in that's a referral, right? Influencers, bloggers, news articles, anything that's got a link back to your site. And so you want to foster those relationships. If you want to continually build on where you can get articles from, where you can get articles placed about your company. Email is your most effective tool, but you have to build your audience first, right? You have to build your buyers, because that's your most profitable channel. And so, but the way to get there, maybe it's sign up for a new product launch. Maybe it's sign up to win something on your site. Maybe it's sign up for something. But building that list is one of the most valuable tools you can get, and it's definitely going to pay off in the long run, because now you've got a direct line of communication to somebody who's shown interest in your product. It's cheaper than an ad. So sometimes you use ads to get those email signups. Social media, again, what you're trying to do with social media, you're trying to attract customers to your brand. You're telling your brand story. You're talking about your quality, all those significant pieces. And then Amazon, first time when people first hear about your product, the first thing they do is they don't go to your website, because they're not going to buy on your website right away. I mean, think about it. They haven't built a relationship with you. They don't know you. They're afraid to give your credit card information. So the first thing they do is they go to Amazon. They may go to your website. They may look at your social media to see what kind of company you are, whether you're legitimate or not. But they're going to go and buy the first time at Amazon. That's why Amazon is so important. What you want to do with Amazon, let them buy the first time, maybe the second time, give them a good impression of your product, make sure they understand the quality, make sure they understand who you are, and then try and get them to come to your website. There are ways to do it. There are methods to do it that don't break Amazon's terms and conditions. I'm not talking about sticking something in the box that says, go back to my website. Amazon finds out and you get shut down. There's other ways to do it, other tools. And then advertising. There's a million different advertising tools out there, a million different ways to advertising, from brand ads all the way down to Google Shopping ads, low converting ads to bottom of the funnel ads. And it depends on, again, what you're doing and what you're looking for. Google Shopping ads can be quite effective, but you're you're counting on somebody searching for your product or a product similar to yours. Brand ads, you're pushing it out. They're not going to convert right away. Maybe they'll never convert, but that's just building awareness. And again, we're talking about attracting people to your site. Then once you've attracted them, got them to the site, done what you have to do, then you have to engage them. So you want to make sure that when you build your site, that your content on your site reflects who you are, from visuals to video to content to words. All that has to work together, because if there's a disconnect between your social media and your website and your Amazon, customers are going to pick up on it and they're going to think, something's wrong here. We deal with a lot of big companies, and it always amazes us that they seem to have a different group doing different things on different channels. And they may all report to marketing. Some may report to the head of e-commerce. Some may report, but there's a big disconnect sometimes. And it doesn't affect them as much because a lot of them are big brands and they mostly sell in retail. So they look at e-commerce, or they look at their website, or they look at that side of the business as not really driving the total business. So, but it is a disconnect. But for young companies, we always tell them you have to work together. You have to have all these channels working together, looking the same, seeing the same. Your emails that go out have to have the same look and feel as your website, which has to have the same look and feel as your social media channels, the same look and feel as your brand store on Amazon and your product pages on Amazon. So again, you've attracted them. Now you're engaging them. Now, the ones who make a purchase, you want to delight those people. That's where your email comes in, your email automation. And again, we'll talk about AI in a little while, but there are some great tools out there. There are some great tools to put on your site, chatbots and things like that, using AI, that are inexpensive today, that are great tools to make sure you're delighting people who come. You want everybody who comes to your site, even though your conversion rate on your site may be 5-6%, it's okay. You want people that are coming to your site to remember you. They may not buy right away. It may take them a while, but you want to delight them. And then once you got them, and once they've purchased from you, you want to retain those people. You want your retention rate. You should be everybody who has an e-commerce site or a brand or selling on e-commerce should look at the two biggest metrics are long-term value of your customer. You should know that one, like the inside and you should know that inside out. And the second one is your retention rate. How many customers are coming back 2 times, 3 times, 4 times? Because those two metrics will tell you how you're doing long-term. I mean, there's other metrics, believe me, but and you know it. But those two are very, very important for you to carry around in your back pocket at all times. You should always know them. So, retention, email plays a huge part in retention. Email automation plays a huge part in retention. If you don't have an email automation tool set up on your site, you should get one as fast as possible, because that's not only going to build your sales, but it's also going to keep you in touch with your customers, because sometimes customers buy a product from you, it gets delivered. Sometimes they don't keep the box. Sometimes they don't keep the outer wrapping. They don't remember where they bought it. They knew that they got it from somewhere. You want to make sure that they remember you every single day. So it's not like I'm saying bombard people and spam them with emails, but I am saying there's nothing wrong with a weekly email, a newsletter, giving them some information. If you want something from them, always remember this. If you want something from a customer, you have to give them something. And that something could be information. It could be a free booklet. It could be a free sample. It could just be a great article with great content. But you have to give them something to get something back in return. So keep that in mind. It's not one-sided. Email, it's just like social media, just like everything, has to be two-sided. You have to give. It's a give and take world with that. And then you want to manage your customer feedback loops. You always want to get customer feedback. You want to be able to understand what the customers like, what they dislike about your product, your service, your website, everything. There's nothing wrong with constantly communicating with the customer, and again, asking them questions about who you are, the net promoter score, how did you like us, would you promote us to your friends and family, those types of things. But again, always think about, I want you to do something for me. I'm going to give you something. As a CEO, when I started a company, I always felt like I would get in touch with 10 customers every week. And I wanted to find out what they liked, what they didn't like, if they didn't like us, if they did like us, because sometimes people that don't like you are just as important and just as valuable in terms of getting information from. So giving them a call, you've got their information, especially if they bought from your site. You can send them an email. Hey, would it be okay if we had a 5-minute conversation? I'll give you a free such and such. I'll give you a $5 off coupon. I'll give you something, for them to take their time. But that information that they're giving you is extremely valuable. So I think we're pretty clear on all of these pieces. So I think I've explained to you some of these, and I think you understand them. If you don't and you want more, go to crunchgrowth.com. Okay. Because I have a free, and again, you don't have to do anything. Just go to crunchgrowth.com. You can put your email address in and download. There's a free booklet that it goes into this in much more detail. It's got charts, it's got graphs, talks to you about online marketing, digital marketing. So just take advantage of it. Again, it's free. Not asking you for anything. I don't want anything. I'm giving it to you, and I think it's good information. So hopefully, what my goal is to try and get people to stop being scammed by some of these other people. So the more information I can give you, the better off we are. So I want to talk about Amazon selling real quick, because Amazon selling, if you're selling a product, a physical product, it's very important. And I've been an Amazon seller since 2006. We were one of the first brands. We were a beauty brand back in 2006 that we had on the shopping channels, actually. And we sold on Amazon. And I've learned a lot about selling on Amazon. And I like Amazon. I like a lot of things about Amazon. There's a lot of things I don't like about Amazon. But what I've learned over time is I don't want to sell on Amazon and rely on Amazon. I don't want that to be another selling channel. I want to look at Amazon as a customer acquisition channel. And the reason is because customers hear about your product. This is validated. We did a study on this. We published it a couple of years ago. We did a study on this. When a customer hears about your product or your brand, first thing they do is they go to your website. They want to see if you're legitimate. They're not going to buy. They're not going to give you your credit card. They're hesitant. So they go to your social media. They're looking at how you interact with people, how you interact with your customers. Then they go to Amazon and they'll buy. And they'll buy from Amazon because they trust Amazon. 2, they know Amazon has an A to Z guarantee. So if there's anything that goes wrong, they're not going to have to fight to get their money back. They know Amazon will give it back to them. And as sellers, which I'm sure a lot of you are, as well as I do, Amazon will give them their money back. So it's not worth the argument. But anyway, so Amazon selling is important if you're an e-commerce seller, e-commerce brand. Okay. Now, I've also seen an uptick in these guys saying, I'll set you up with an FBA store. I'll set you up as an Amazon seller. And I look, and they're all wholesalers and they're all Amazon sellers. Now, why do you think they would do that? I'll tell you what my theory is. My theory is that they're holding a ton of inventory and they can't sell it. So they decided that, hey, we'll turn this into a business. We'll get other people to pay us a fee to set them up as an Amazon FBA seller. We'll sell them our product. We'll make our profit. Then the problem of selling on Amazon profitably will be pushed to them. So, think about it. If you're a reseller on Amazon, and you're selling product that everybody else has, then you're just in a price competitive game. So again, it goes back to building a brand versus just selling product. And building a brand on Amazon is something that we're always all about. But again, building a winning FBA business, building a winning whatever, those guys have another interest in mind, and it's all their own. Why would they want to sell you? Why would they want to build an FBA business for you, right? Just because you're going to pay them. So let me go through the economics of Amazon a bit so you understand. And again, do you want to build a brand or are you trying to be a reseller? And so let's talk about FBA and let's talk about how it works. FBA is fulfilled by Amazon. There's two ways that you can sell on Amazon: fulfilled by Amazon or fulfilled by merchant. Okay, merchant fulfilled is you take the order, you fulfill it. Amazon the other way, FBA, Amazon gets the order, Amazon fulfills it. You send your inventory into Amazon, fulfilled by Amazon. Now, there's a cost to that, right? You pay, so you're paying a 40, I think it's $40 a month. Yeah, I think it's $40 a month now for the Amazon. It's one of those things nobody ever pays attention to anyway. But just to have your account, it's $40 a month, or you pay per transaction. But if you're selling more than 40 items a month, it pays to do the monthly fee. But then before you ship, you have to label every product. Then you have to label the case packs. Then you have to label the pallets. So somebody's going to do that for you, and they're going to charge you. Now, if Amazon has to do it, it's going to cost you between $2.50 and $3 per unit for them to label. If you get somebody else to do it, maybe it'll cost $2, $2.50, but it's still a cost per unit for them to do all that labeling. And it has to be done, because if you don't have your own brand and you're reselling product, then it has to be done. So now you've got this $40. Now you're paying your transaction fee just to put labels on. Then when you list your products, you're paying 15% of sales, just the listing fee, just your Amazon listing fee, 15% of sales. Then to be an FBA seller, you're paying another 15%. So now we're at 30% of total sales of each sale, 30% plus your labeling fees, plus your monthly, plus your freight in and freight out. So you see where I'm going with this. The reason that we're so in tune with building brands is because when you build a brand and you develop your own product, you can build your product to understand the economics of Amazon so that you can make money. Because right away, I just threw out 30 plus, let's call it 45% of sales. It's going out just in all the costs involved. So now you have your product cost. So what could your product cost be? Well, in some cases, I mean, your product cost, you may be up against you might be up against some competition, right? You may be up against some competitors that you're selling. So here's an example, right? Here's this is a set of headphones. This set of headphones has multiple sellers on it, right? Multiple sellers. So now what happens? Well, you're in a position where you're fighting against all these other sellers for that product. You say, okay, well, maybe I'll sell, a different product. I'm going to sell razors. I'm going to sell Gillette razors. Okay, you can sell Gillette razors, but you still have other resellers. You're still competing. So now you're competing on price. So these guys that are telling you they can build an FBA store and they can sell you the product and get you set up, yeah, this is what they're faced with. And this is why they're doing that, because they're realizing that they can make more money selling it to you at supposed wholesale cost and set you up and take fees for setting you up as FBA, because they're FBA experts. Believe me, if you're an FBA expert, and I've done FBA, I've done fulfilled by merchant, if you're selling anywhere on Amazon, I don't have time to build you a web store. I don't have time to build you an FBA. I'm busy. I'm busy trying to keep my business going. So again, keep things in mind that things aren't always what you see, what you think, right? These guys, there's an ulterior motive to why these guys are doing it. So again, now before your transactions go, so let's say that your cost of product is 50%. So now you got 50% plus 40%, you're at 95%. Most of the resellers, most of the big resellers that are on there, the top resellers, these guys make 5% net profit. But most of these guys have one thing in common. They have a supply chain advantage. And it's true. The resellers, the guys that are out there selling Colgate toothpaste, that are out there selling Listerine, that are out there selling household products or any products, they have a supply chain advantage. Most of the time, they're tied to the wholesaler. They're tied to a wholesaler. And so their product costs are lower than yours, right? Their product costs and they've got the inventory there and they can move it, and it's just another outlet. A lot of times they're sitting in the same building as the wholesaler. So be careful about these guys that are telling you they can get you product. It's better if you're passionate about a product, if there's something that you think you can develop, that you can build a brand around, you're much better off selling a product that nobody else has, because now you don't have resellers. Now you don't have to have your product labeled because you go into the brand registry and you can use your UPC because nobody else is selling it. You don't have mixed inventory. They don't have to make sure that this inventory is tied to you. So always think about building a brand, right? Even on Amazon, as much as your website. So again, Amazon selling is not easy. It's not as easy as people make it out to be. These people that sit there and talk about, oh, I taught Janie and Janie started doing $40,000 a month and now she's a billionaire. Really? Because I've been, I've been on since 2006 with my own brands, with other brands, and really, you think you could make that statement? So again, if it's too good to be true, it is not true. So don't get sucked into it, because we have a person who just came to us. They spent $10,000 on a course to teach them how to sell on Amazon, and I can't believe it. I was dumbfounded. So anyway, be careful. That's all I'm saying. So anyway, let's go into let's just talk real close because we're getting close to the end. But let's talk about AI and AI tools a bit, because what AI at this point is almost built into everything, right? So Facebook has AI tools that they use, and you can use. If you hook Facebook up to your website, you can have a little chat bot. You can put a chat bot on your site. That's a great AI tool. And AI can do a lot of wonderful things. You can get customer feedback tools with AI. You can do outreach with AI. Most of your email platforms today have some sort of an AI structure into them. So AI is a great tool. It's not the be all end all. I'll tell you that. No AI tool that I've seen, it works 100%. So we have tools that we use. We use a product called Jasper. We use chat. We use all these things, and we develop content with them. We use it to develop strategies. We use it to upgrade content on our site. We use it to do all kinds of things. But at the end of the day, it gets you about 60% there. So you need those tools, right? You need a tool for customer feedback, right? You need a messaging tool, so you can get a good chat tool for that. You need ad managers for Google, for Amazon. There's some great ad managers out there that have some great AI features built into them, not just working on keywords, but focused in on. We're using one for Amazon that right now for a brand that is really focused in on who's buying the product, and it's doing a tremendous job keeping the ACoS down. So there are tools out there, AI tools. Experiment with them. Find the one that's the best for you. A great keyword finder for your website, for Amazon, a content generator, something to help you build content. Again, you build content. It's not going to be 100% of the time. It's going to get you about 60 or 70% there. So you have to really think about how you're doing it. So, there's email automation, which is AI driven, which is great. I think everybody should have email automation built into their sites. So on and on. There's a ton. But again, if you walk away with nothing else, the key to this whole thing is that there is no silver bullet. There's no silver bullet in marketing. There's no silver bullet in advertising. There's no ad that you're going to pop up that's going to go, wow, right? There's one every 20 years or something that, again, I'll use Dollar Shave Club as an example. That video that they did, that was sort of a silver bullet, but it didn't happen overnight. It took them almost a year to get to that point of struggle and thinking and trying different things. So you can get to a point where you can break through the clutter. You just have to understand who you're talking to, who your customer is, what you're trying to get across, all those different pieces. So like I said, I think Yeah, there's some great tools out there, and you have to really understand your business and understand who your targeted customer is, and that's what's going to get you where you need to be. So don't listen to all these ads and all these promises and these fake promises. It's just not it's not going to get there. You know, um, you want to learn from successful startups. Look at how some of the successful startups happen. Glossier is a perfect example. She started out as a blogger for 2 years or 3 years. She built her audience that way. So when she finally did launch her first four products 3 years after, she had a built-in audience. Um, what was that? Truff, which is a hot sauce brand. I don't know if you heard of them, but they did something great when they started on social media way back when. They got at sauce, and then before they even had a product, they had at sauce. And so they started developing the product. And then a couple of things that they did, they were heavy samplers. When they got their products into Whole Foods, they were sampling in sample packets, getting it in customers' mouths, not running a lot of ads, but doing things like they did an affiliation with Taco Bell, things that were out of the ordinary. So you sort of want to think about where I can spend this money. I can spend $10,000 on ads. Maybe I can spend $10,000 and get a bigger bang for my buck. Maybe I can spend, $10,000 on, on a video. Maybe I can spend $10,000 on a seeded story in some high profile newspaper, something like that. So, go and learn from successful startups, pay attention to your metrics, pay attention to the returns you get on every single channel. Use each channel together, not as separate or individual. Your website, your Amazon, they all work together. You want to make sure that you have the right tools. So, these are the things that we use and we do every single day. Again, it's not an easy world. It's not simple. It's not something that happens overnight. You've got to really work at it, really motivate, and you've got to really think outside the box and come up with knowing what your messaging is and how are you going to get and break through that clutter. So, hey, thanks for joining me. I hope you got a lot out of it. Again, tune in every week. We have usually a guest on some entrepreneur. We talk about all kinds of things. We talk about the struggles. We talk about the good, the bad, the funny. We always try and have funny stories in there. And we try and have a good time. And so join us if you can every Tuesday night at 6:00. It's great. This coming week, next Tuesday, what is that? July. I think it's the 13th. I've got a guy on that you're just going to love. This guy he's the founder of Greenies. If you're a pet lover, if you're a dog, Greenies toothbrush chews. He developed those, but his story is great. He sold that business to another company a long time ago, but he's 10 years ago or so, maybe more. But he's developed some other stuff, and just to hear his story is phenomenal. And you're going to be amazed when you finally see this guy, because he's incredible as far as entrepreneurs go. So join us for that. Okay. Hey, have a good night. And again, if you have any questions, you can go to crunchgrowth.com or even philmasiello.com. I have another site, philmasiello.com, and you can go there. We have another business planning tool that you can download for free. So, okay, have a good night. Thanks again.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Greg Russell. I'm the host of TechnologyTuesday.com. You can find us on the Conscious Business TV network every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the latest resources to help you make more money in your business. Join us on E360 TV. Come on.